would turn you in repentance to Jesus for finding rest from him. By bringing you back to him. And so this is where he then turns from talking about saying, don't judge, to then saying, not only is that ridiculous, but look at yourself. Look at the log in your own eye while you're dealing with the speck in somebody else's. I know we often treat the words of Jesus with such sort of seriousness because we know we're supposed to take Jesus seriously. But some commentators like Craig Keener suggest that Jesus is using something like what you see comedians do when they criticize society with a joke. There's an irony in what Jesus is saying, that it's meant to be received with a humor so you understand and kind of get the idea here. So it's sort of, so if we miss the humor, you might think of it this way. It's like saying, suppose you were going into the eye doctor and to get your eye examined, and the eye doctor, the one who's going to give you your eye examination, he comes in and he's one of those guys who has those glasses that really magnify the eyes. You know what I'm saying? And he even has a white cane and comes on in and points at the letters with the white cane and says, okay, read them back to me. And then as you're reading the letters, he has to get all the way up to the board to see if you're right. And then goes, you got really bad eyesight. You should do something about it. You get the picture, right? That's part of the humor that's found in Jesus' words. Luther picks up on this a little bit by sort of putting it into, I think, a nice way when he says, we have enough logs in our own eyes to build a pig pen. What do we do when looking at somebody else's? And the truth is that this is really what it should be, because you can actually judge yourself. If you really do it, you should be able to judge more severely than anybody else, because you should be able to see far more sin than you can see in anybody else. Because everybody else, you can only see the externals. You can only see what they do. You can wonder about why they did it. But only what they do or what they say about why they did it. That's all you have to go by. But sin even lives not just in what we do, but in what we think, how it starts. And here, Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, he teaches these things. He says, don't just murder. He says, it's don't just be angry. It's not just about committing adultery. It's about not lusting. And you may be the only one who knows when you're angry and lusting. But because of that, you can see far more than anybody else. And so think of it almost more like this, that it's like you ever have a splinter, and it really, really, really hurts. But you just see this little bit of wood, just sticking out, but it just hurts so bad. And so finally you take the tweezers and you pull it out, and it ends up being this long inside you. There's so much more under the skin. That's the log. All you'll ever see of somebody is their splinters. But when you can search your own and find the logs. And so it calls us into this sense of repentance, so that then we can receive mercy. Jesus isn't teaching us simply a karmic universe where you get what you give. He's teaching us to not want to get what we give. To desire something better so that this world can be built on something better. And that's what he does. To find mercy that can beget mercy. Even in church, his teachings on church discipline in Matthew 18, what we would call excommunication and so forth, even there, the goal is always to receive people back. Jesus always teaches us, even in the judgments that we find ourselves rendering, to always have that goal of bringing back. And therefore, we must learn that there's sort of this dialectical relationship of mercy and judgment. In James chapter 2, it says, mercy triumphs over judgment. And he said that because of who his brother is. His brother who came to show that God's will is mercy. God's ways is mercy. And what God makes is mercy. A mercy that can beget mercy.